Hello all. I was asked some questions about the folding mechanism for the military drone clone, and I just wanted to take a minute to show you some of the changes that have been made to it. So first up, this is one of the arms. It has a metal bushing in it. It's 5mm, so a 5mm shaft can go through it. The holes were drilled by hand, except for this one, and well, that's basically the piece. The problem was this bushing will move side to side just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just a little bit, and I was a little concerned that that was going to go and cause some vibration. This would go through it, it would sit like so, and there'd be some vibration because these things would just move back and forth. You can just see they're not real tight. To hold them apart would be this little piece of metal, and it would sit like so with another piece of metal on top. Right, so the whole thing would be sandwiched basically like that. Problem was, I found that these things, I could never get them exactly cut right, so there was a chance that the arms could go and not necessarily move up and down, but there was a chance for some flex. I didn't like that. The other thing was this part here. I cut them on my CNC router. It's not that accurate. This hole wasn't particularly accurate, and these holes were not particularly accurate because of the fact that they were hand drilled. Right, so some of the changes that I made was this. I had these parts cut, and I think I could probably show you. Well, anyways, I had some cut, and I had them machined with the holes in place. So everything was machined with the holes in place, and instead of using the little 5mm bushing, I used a riv nut. And when that riv nut is in there, it is solid. There's no way that this thing is going to move. It's just solid. On the top, I had this part machined. I had all of the holes machined so that everything lined up instead of me drilling them by hand. The reason I was drilling them by hand was because I wasn't convinced I could get the holes in the center of these metal parts properly. Well, I came up with a jig that allows me to do that, so I can now get them centered, which means I could get these things properly machined with the holes in the right spot. So there you go, it all works. The other thing that I did was I changed these metal parts so that the height of them allowed for a 40mm pin to be used. Before it was a little bit narrower and I had to go and cut the pin off, which meant then again I could never get it to be exactly the same in each case. So I changed these things, made it easier for them to slide on just a little bit. I made sure that the holes were in the right spot so they lined up with the carbon fiber. And I used the riv nut in here to make sure that it's solid, and it is solid. There is no movement at all on that shaft anymore. Right, that's going to make the whole arm nice and stiff. Alrighty, so those are the changes that were made. I just wanted to share that with you because I'd gotten some questions about it. People were worried that I was going to have some slop, and they were right. You can see that, the slop right there. There is no slop with this. None at all. Rock solid. And that's it. Cheers.